We have come to the end of William Ilsley at the undercover policing inquiry. It was a very short session following his questioning this morning. There was no further questions for him. There was a short period of just kind of wrapping up the questioning. I think the biggest takeaway was I was the overseer. I didn't know what was going on. Really summed up his approach. We saw details of the one meeting that he remembers having with, that he admits to having with Special Branch, which was in advance of the October 1993 demonstration in Welling, which he set up the incident room, which was then used by Special Branch to identify people who were on the demonstration. He referred to, he gave advice to somebody who said that they had CCTV evidence of Dwayne Brooks causing criminal damage to a vehicle, advising them to take that to the CPS to consider charging. I'm joined by Zoe Young again from the Campaign Opposing Police Surveillance. What did you make of the witness?
Well, there was this moment where I felt like he'd been kind of held and he just closed his eyes for quite a long time, because it was like when he was being challenged about the fact that he was overseeing the response to this protest, also leading on the murder inquiry.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, oh, well, no, we're nothing to do with public order. That's completely separate. And then there'd been this issue earlier about getting a photo of Dwayne Brooks. And
it was like, CCTV, yeah. Oh, yeah, photo of him. Yeah,
and why would you need a photo of the witness to a murder? And then, oh, now we're going to try and identify him on a protest. We're going to try and say he's been smashing up cars. Like, I mean, it was very forensic. And I found a lot of it, I was like, what has this got to do with undercover policing? Come on, we're spending so much time on these really little details. But I think there is a really good point to going into that great detail, because obviously the Lawrence case is a really major case. We wouldn't have the inquiry if it hadn't been for, Peter Francis coming out and exposing that, and the Daily Mail liking the Lawrences. And so I think it's part of building this kind of mosaic effect of I think the way that the police liaison officers were behaving, the way that they were gathering information about the people in the house, and then doing things like getting a photo of Dwayne Brooks, but then the same guy overseeing the murder investigation being there. I really noticed as well in a lot of the reports, which were reporting all about this, that, and the other, about the demeanour or the presence of whoever around the house, and then there was like, just like as if it was an offhand thing. Oh, so-and-so saw 4 guys running down the street, smashing windows. I mean, okay, that's the actual murderers. That's the actual investigation. Almost, from looking at the reports, it almost felt like the murder investigation was like kind of second priority.
Yeah. I mean, I think what this all really illustrates is the insidious nature of Special Branch and the way in which, as we've heard from previous witnesses, Special Branch had this ability to reach out throughout the entirety of the Met Police area, and we're having meetings with officers at various different levels, able to tap into to get information from wherever they wanted to, and that the information the police were gathering was being fed directly into Special Branch, into C Squad most likely, and that that essentially that was kind of the SDS only exists as one, like as that one part of it, that everything else was kind of serving it essentially, and that the information that was being gathered purportedly by those who were claiming that it was there to help the family were in fact serving up information to the SDS so that they could spy on them and protect the reputation of the Metropolitan Police.
Yeah. I mean, there was quite a lot about Imran Khan. I mean, as a lawyer, and this idea that sort of he was getting in the way, all the various anti-racist campaigners were getting in the way, and it was like the police wanted to deal directly with the family and sort of do their police liaison job, which, I could see a logic to that if what they were doing was actually trying to support the family and keep them updated on the investigation into their son's murder. But it became clearer and clearer that wasn't what they were there for. So no wonder the family wanted some protection, and eventually the relationship broke down.
I mean, it's certainly we've heard from so many family justice campaigns who've given evidence to the inquiry of the role of family liaison officers has very much been to try and isolate the family, to second guess them, to prevent them from making any sort of fuss, to protect the reputation again of the Met Police. It seems to be the highest calling of the police is protecting their own reputation.
Yeah.
I don't feel we got a great deal out of the witness, particularly in the last little session. I mean, it was incredibly short. I think we were in there for like half an hour at most.
Yeah.
He continually claimed not to know, not to remember.
I was just in charge of it, but I didn't know anything.
Yeah, literally. And often, presented with questions which, rather than answering directly, he just was like, I don't know. For example, he was shown that HN86 was present at one of the meetings. We were shown that the paperwork, and he said, "You are aware that HN86 was Executive Chief Inspector of Special Branch?" "No, I'm not." "Oh, you're being told this right now, but you're so in the mode of like denying and refusing, you can't even, he was just so in that mode. He was, when he was asked a couple of direct questions, he was like, "Look, all it was this," and then like kind of laid out what he wanted to say without directly answering the questions. A deep level of disrespect for the process, a deep level of disrespect for the law in general, again reflecting how he acted as an officer.
Yeah, I really noticed both the witnesses today, this morning and this afternoon. They were both given a list of cover names of undercover police and asked if they knew that person or ever encountered them. And both of them responded exactly the same way. It was like, name, no, name, no, name, no, name. And when I'm asked if I know somebody, if I'm given a name, "Oh, do you know so-and-so?" I'll be like, oh, do I know that? No, I don't know.
Yeah, it was,
in what context might I have met them? What do they look like?
Pure knee-jerk.
But it was, and so either they're both just like been told to say no, or, well, I don't know what alternative there is really, because that was not the natural response of somebody who is answering an informational question in an honest way.
Yeah, no, they've been both terrible witnesses on any measurement. I would argue it's been a frustrating day.
At what point does the duty of candor come into law? It needs to be ratified and things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's some time off, and certainly I get the impression that both these witnesses may not be alive for it.
Right. So they can still get away with lying day after day after day.
I mean, I think that's pretty much all we can take it for, really, with the witnesses today. Tomorrow we have Lord Condon, Baron Condon, the former Chief Inspector of the Metropolitan Police. A high-profile witness, if there ever was one. It'll be interesting to see what we get out of him. I'll do a full preview of him in the morning. Is there anything else you'd like to add about today?
Well, I don't know if we can say anything, a call out to any core participants who may be out there who are not plugged in, who may want to participate in discussion about...
There's a meeting tomorrow. I mean, if you are a co-participant, you probably have heard there's a co-participants meeting tomorrow evening. I mean, generally, if you are watching this, you're probably fairly plugged in. It's between 6 and 7. You can join remotely if you'd like to. It's about response to the consultation that the government, that the Home Secretary launched on Thursday.
And it's quite a big moment. It's quite, and it would be good to have all our voices and everyone contributing to that decision, so that we can all feel ownership of whatever our strategy is for responding to this.
Yes,
I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the feeling generally is that this is an absolutely outrageous attempt by the state to try and shut down a legal instrument which is quite unprecedented. I mean, it doesn't really happen otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, how can you decide that a public inquiry is not going to fulfil its terms of reference at a certain later point, and decide that it's going to miss out the key points, which have just happened to be the most recent ones, which just happened to perhaps pose most threat to people who are most now presently still in positions of relative power.
Someone noted earlier it's a 30-day consultation, which, I mean, traditionally they're 12-week consultations, but 30-day ones done because of the urgency.
The height of summer.
Well, it's because of the urgency, supposedly. Things are 30 days. Well, quite, yes. We're dealing with
this has been dragging on. When did they say it was going to be finished in
3 years?
In 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. So suddenly it's urgent in the summer holidays, just when we're getting a new Prime Minister who came in at least partly on his supporting the Hillsborough families, etc. And this is supposedly the Hillsborough law, duty of candour. So there's some talk that this is about protecting Starmer's legacy, because he's very implicated in the spy copsing injustices at various levels.
We've had some comments. Very unenlightening sessions, I'm afraid. How many ways can a man say "not me, Gov"? Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what we've witnessed. I agree that the Home Office consultation is obviously outrageous and very transparent, including not investigating one of the undercovers who led to the entire inquiry starting. Absolutely. I mean, this is the key thing. I mean, essentially, in many ways, including the SDS in the inquiry, was was kind of a strange move, because it was the MPOIU who like really kind of kicked it off. Not a strange move. I mean, it was the right thing to do, but it was the MPOIU that was
which stands for the National Public Order Intelligence Unit, which was established at the end of the 90s and went through till 2014. And that's what a lot of the 2010. It's the inquiry that goes to 2014. But Mark Kennedy, who is the first big one to hit the media, etc., he was in NPIU. And
it's only been a short day, but it feels a long one. So
I just want to say a little bit about the rest of the inquiry, because not everyone's fully up to speed with that. So we're currently in tranche 3, the third set of hearings of that, looking at the managers. So the next tranche is looking at the MPOIU. So that is then going to cover from end of the 90s through to 2010, and that is a lot of the best known undercovers. But then there is tranche 5, which even if tranche 4 survives, there's a risk to tranche 5, which is looking at other policing units, which we don't even know, they're not even named. And I think
is that generally referred to regional police forces rather than the Met, from what I understand?
Okay. But a lot of people, whenever we do talks, and both of us, we run workshops at festivals and are doing some, and maybe we could talk about that. Whenever we do, the question that always comes in is like, but what's happening now? Where are the undercover police now in movements? And that's not generally something that the inquiry is going to dig into, but it is supposed to be making recommendations.
I mean, that is supposedly the whole idea of the whole process, is the recommendations on learning the lessons for future undercover policing. I mean, obviously, as an anarchist, I'm against them all generally, so I'm not really interested in the recommendations, but it's all about the journey, not the destination, comrades. But certainly, it's telling that there's, from the state's point of view, that's the important bit, and they're willing to wrap that up. I think we knew from when the CHIS bill was passed in 2022, or CHIS Act now rather.
And that means covert human information sources.
No,
intelligence sources.
It's Criminal Conduct Bill, Criminal Conduct Act of 2022. I think the passing of that really showed that the state wasn't really willing to learn the lessons, not interested in learning the lessons. Obviously, public inquiries and an exercise in kicking balls into the long grass, but yeah. Anyway, anything else you'd like to add?
Here we are, kicking the balls in the grass, kicking our ball around.
Well, we'll be kicking the ball again in the morning with Lord Condon. Please join us then. I believe it's a normal start tomorrow, so the broadcast should start at 10:15. I'll be doing a video about 2:15. Please join us then. Bye for now. Thanks for liking, sharing.